excited to chat with Mr. Jeff Walters today. He is an associate broker with our office, licensed since 2011. Is that correct?
Well, originally licensed in actually late 2006, but licensed in Alberta since 2011. Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
great.
Yeah, yeah.
And then joined our office in 2017.
Yeah.
And you're an associate broker now as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And been working with our office, since 2017. You've had a lot of success over the years working with buyers, and it's kind of one of the type of clientele you like to work with a lot, and have some insights to share with us. And I think you have a pretty good process for working with buyers. And so, want to let me know a little bit more about that? That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Shane. And you know, I think I do. I enjoy working with buyers a lot, listings as well, but certainly on the buyer side. And you know, for me, one of the things that I've come to realize over the years, I really early on in my career, going all the way back to 2006, 7, I really wanted to develop a good process for working with both sides of the fence. And you know, with buyers, what I found is a lot of times people have an idea of what they think they want to go after and how this process works, particularly first timers, but even people that have been in a home for a while and they want to make a move, or you know, people that are maybe at the empty nester stage and they've been in a house for a long time, they've forgotten the process. And so what I find is it's really important to really sit down with people and do that first buyer interview. Take an hour and really invest in that, not just the rapport building part of the relationship, although that's part of it too,
Sure.
but really giving ourselves an opportunity to demonstrate our professionalism by sitting down, listening, trying to understand people's needs, their wants, but also the issues that are affecting them in their lives that are leading to whatever buying decision they're making right now. And some of those can be positive and some of those can be, in some cases, not so positive. But I think it's really important that in demonstrating our professionalism, in having built a bit of a rapport and sitting down with people, that we're really drilling into asking some harder questions in some cases, but important questions. And I think one of the downfalls that I've seen in talking to colleagues, even doing some training with other agents over the years, is that people fall into that trap of, you know, they're excited that they've got a potential new client, a potential new buyer to work with. And so, and I like to call it the, you know, you're running around with hope in your passenger seat, so to speak, that woman named Hope, you know, but really that can in a lot of cases be all it is when you're out showing houses and you haven't taken that time to really connect, really ask questions, really drill down. So, you know, quite honestly, I would say more than 90% of the time, Shane, what I do is I'm gonna really encourage and almost be insistent, I guess is the right word, on sitting down with somebody in a coffee shop or at the kitchen table or wherever and having that first interview to really get into some questions and really get into the process behind buying a home, because people will forget it if they've done it before. So but also then, the specifics of what we need to do to get there.
And so now, do you find it difficult, or do you find you get a lot of resistance on people wanting to meet first rather than just look at property right away?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think that, again, because I have been very much relational in my business approach, and I've done a lot of business by referral, quite frankly, what ends up happening is when you've got that sort of first layer of trust built in with people, it's easier to say, hey, this is how I do things, and let's get together this way and meet for that coffee or what have you. When you've got say a colder lead or something like that, you know, it can be a little bit more resistant because I don't know them, they don't know me. There's not that layer of trust built in yet, so it can be a little trickier, right, to get that meeting set up. But the way I just frame it is, you know, here's Mr. and Mrs. Client, you know, here's how I like to do business, and here's how I like to approach things. And I find that what happens is we can really get to a better result and a better end result that's more effective and efficient for all concerned if we do it this way. And, you know, I don't try to be overly heavy-handed about it. I just simply say, here's how I approach the business. And, you know, sometimes there's a bit of resistance, but most of the time, again, if you take it with that, here's how I do it, and here's how I'd like to do it. When can we meet? But without being like overly aggressive about it, like a sledgehammer about it.
Right.
We can, oftentimes we're still successful in getting that appointment set up. Yeah.
Well, and I would say that, like, as an agent, you've helped hundreds of buyers
Absolutely
have a process to get the best results out of it. As a client,
Absolutely.
This might be my first purchase, or at most my second or third purchase, right? So
Absolutely.
They're looking to you as the professional, as the expert,
Right.
and if you lead them, they'll follow that, right?
Right.
And because it's in their best interest, and that you'll set expectations, right? And
Exactly.
and get on the same page as far as what are their needs and wants, and what they should expect coming through the process. And I assume that there's probably some market update information in your initial meeting as well, of what's going on in the market, buyer's market, seller's market, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I would do, Shane, and that's a great point and question, is, I'm going to come to that meeting prepared, and I'm going to explain that in the discussion. Let's say we're on the phone, hey, we want to meet, or, again, we're going to do a Zoom call, right? But either way, however we're going to do it, let's set this up and understand, here's what you can expect from me, and here's what I'd like from you when we meet, right? And so part of what it is I'm going to bring you a market update. We're going to talk about what's going on in the market. We're going to talk about the process that goes on behind buying a home and narrowing it down, right? There's that old joke or adage that those of us in the business realize it's, buying a home is not a process of selection, it's a process of elimination. It's like finding a mate, right? You figure out what you do want by understanding what you don't want, right?
Sure.
So, and so I find, when we have that meeting, when we talk about the market update, we talk about what's going on, buyer's market, seller's market, neighborhoods, all those kind of things, we start to eliminate a lot very quickly that starts to narrow down our focus. And in just in that first meeting, we can really achieve a lot in terms of really simplifying that process. And guess what? People understand or believe that buying a home is oftentimes a very stressful experience.
Right.
And one of the things I'll even say on the phone before that meeting, and then reiterate it in that meeting, is, look, part of my role is to minimize that stress. We want to take that stress off of you. We want to make this a fun experience. So all you've got to do is pack some boxes, right? And let me do the business part. That's my job. That's my role here. And so when we get into that conversation, it makes it a lot easier to get to that meeting, get into that meeting. And so then the process is very much it's an interview. It's a conversation. It's conversational, but it's a back and forth kind of interview. And I say to people, look, straight up, part of why I want to meet with you too is I want to make sure we're a good fit for each other.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to make sure that personality-wise, not just professionally, but personality-wise, that we're going to be a good fit for one another. And if we're not, hey, that's okay too. We can shake hands and go our separate ways. Yeah. Or we can say, hey, you know what? This is going to work, and let's work together. And here are the parameters, like you say, the boundaries, the expectations, and all of those parts of it. And so when we get into that meeting, we know we're going to be establishing boundaries, expectations. We're going to be setting a focus. We're going to be setting a roadmap, a game plan for how we're going to get from where we are today to where we want to be with that home ownership goal, right?
Yeah. It's a great way to establish solid relationships with your buyers, and like you said, really reduce that stress level for them, and setting expectations for the process. Having that buyer presentation as part of your non-negotiables for your business, I think is so important, and not enough agents, I think, do that. I applaud you for making that part of your business, and obviously the success that it brings as well. So, hey, thanks for sharing some tips there. Obviously, we could talk about the buying process and working with buyers for a few hours.
Absolutely, go on and on and on.
Yeah, just some quick tips out there, and if you are a potential buyer looking at this, hit up Jeff. He's a great guy, and he'd love to help you out. And agents, if they have any questions, can always reach out to you, right?
Absolutely, 100%. I'm here to help everybody. So you know what, from clients on that side, but agents who want some tips and ideas about how to kind of improve their business or streamline things, let's sit down and have a coffee and talk about it.
Great. Thanks so much, Jeff, for your time. Appreciate that very much.
Absolutely.